G'day, welcome back for another video. Today we are here in Ararat. Population 11,000 people. They play in the Wimmera Football League, but there used to be another league here, the Ararat District Football Association. They're going to discover some of those old grounds. Start out here at Alexandra Oval, and this is where the Ararat Rats play in the Wimmera League, also where Ararat Eagles play in the Mindanera League. So Alexandra Oval was opened up in 1920. First game was here in 1921 of football, and it was a central spot for old sport. So it was a much larger location than where they previously played. We'll actually go there. But yeah, it was just a better location. They actually had a trotting track around here until the 60s. And the first game of football was in 1921 against Mount Gambier Rovers, back sort of where I live, down in the southeast of South Australia. So funny that they travelled over here and played. So this was originally wasteland, this area, because there's actually a Alexandra Gardens over there, and that was there originally. So there was a wasteland here. They made an oval, and so it's named after Princess Alexandra originally. So that's where the name comes from. And they transported the whole grandstand from Kokoda Park just for this oval. So that was a pretty big effort back in the old days. Here's the new part of the facility. You can see Ararat Eagles are on here, the canteen prices. But it's also Ararat Rats, or that's probably the main tenant. It's like a lot of these Victorian places. You're not allowed to hang up anything inside because it's a so-called community centre. I have been in there, and there's a little bit of stuff through that window, that door there. So back in the old days, Ararat, they played in the Wimmera District Football League, and then they moved over to the Ballarat Football League. So they had to play in white and black, sort of like Collingwood colours. Eventually, they spent a year out of football. They wound themselves back in the Wimmera Football League. 1937 was the first year of the Wimmera Football League. So changed to South Melbourne design in the 1950s. 98, they changed to red with a V yoke. A little bit different, and then since 2017 they've gone back to that South Melbourne design. Great setup here for spectators, like heaps of seating. Then you got the stand. I think someone might be sleeping in it by the look of it, but yeah, the Oliver stand, which was transported over here, pretty cool. Ararat are going through their greatest phase since the 1950s when they won 4 premierships in a row. They've currently won 3 in a row. Could possibly be more with some of the players they've got, like Tom Williamson, former AFL player. Another notable player from Ararat is Scott Turner. He's a fullback for Richmond in the 90s. Up on the hill here is actually J Ward. So that was a place for the criminally insane. There was a bit of a yarn where some of the inmates, I guess you'd call them, or patients, not sure what the right term is, but they used to watch the footy games, and apparently one half they would watch, a group of people would watch the first half, and then the second group would watch the second half, and the first group of people would wonder who won the game, but the second group of people wouldn't tell them who won. So pretty unique that here in Ararat you have a facility like that overlooking a footy ground. Here you have the other canteen, so it's pretty cool. I went to a final here earlier this year, and they had 2 canteens, so lots of food available. Netball court here. Behind the court is a Chinese heritage museum, Gum San I believe it's called, and that's because Ararat was founded by Chinese people going to the mines over in Ballarat. So they actually found gold around here in 1957, so that's how Ararat sort of started up. Alright, so I think the craziest fact about Ararat, you tell me what you think, is that Ararat, the name was named after Mount Ararat, right?
Yeah.
And the guy who named Mount Ararat was Horatio Wills. Do you know him?
No, I don't.
Do you know Tom Wills?
Yeah.
The founder of Australian Rules Football, his old man named Ararat.
Oh, yeah, that's unique.
It is pretty crazy, I reckon. I reckon that no one talks about this, but that's a pretty rare fact. All right, from this side you can see a little bit of the displays they have. I have filmed them properly before. I didn't ask anyone to get in here today, but there is some memorabilia in there, but that's as far as it goes. There's nothing in the main room. I've spoken about the Ararat Rats in the Wimmera League, but who are the Ararat Eagles? So to answer who are the Ararat Eagles, we've got to talk about the Ararat District Football League. We finally got there. So St Mary's was a football club that moved to this oval in 1992. We'll find their original oval, but they moved here in 92, and they played in the Ararat District until that finished in 99. So they were one of the clubs that merged to form Ararat Eagles, and hence why they play here today in the Mindanera League. Alright, so this is an Ararat Eagles jumper here. It's their old one. They now wear just like a Carlton photogram style with the A and E, but this is what they wore in the Mid-Era League. St. Mary's, they merged with Prestige Trinity. They played in the Horsham District League for 1 year. The VCFL sort of pushed them that way, and they thought it was a little bit too much travel, even though there was like Edenhope and Conniva playing back then, so it would have been worse nowadays. But they thought that was too high of a level, so they went to the Lexington Plains League until that finished. So they actually wore like a West Coast jumper in that league, being the Eagles, which makes sense. And then they, from there, when that league finished, they went to the Mid-Era League, which made way more sense because there's a lot of Mid-Era League clubs in this league. And we'll go to a few other Mid-Era League rounds as well today. All right, here's the Ararat Rats jumper. I was kind of given one a few weeks ago now, just the old South Melbourne jumper. You notice established in 1871, a super old footy club here at Ararat. Opened up in 1861 and football was later played here 10 years later. All right, so the main footy club that played here was Methodist in the Ararat District Football League. Obviously, like a church connection, Methodist, but they changed their name to Miners in 1971 because the priests there didn't agree with all the drinking and whatever else at the footy club, so they changed their name to Miners. They wore purple with a gold M, which is a bit of a different jumper. I rate it. It's pretty cool. Unfortunately, the club rooms here, they actually blew over in a tornado or storm or something like that about 15 years ago. So there's nothing really to see of them now. And yeah, the Miners Footy Club is no more, obviously, as well. So Miners played until 1994, and then they merged with Caledonians. So they were Caledonian Miners. Eventually that became Ararat United. That's the story we'll tell at another ground. But so I did a video nearly 2 years ago here now, and there was like a rugby/soccer goal here. Now they have like just 2 footy goals, like 2 footy posts. They don't have point posts. It's really bizarre, but they have the cricket pitch there. Good view down the back there. Miners, they were a fairly successful club, winning 10 premierships in the Ararat District era before merging in 95. So they were one of the better clubs, but there wasn't really like one dominant team in the Ararat District League. They only started reserves in the 1980s, so it wasn't a huge league, to be honest. But juniors only started in the last 3 seasons. They had under 16s in the last 3 seasons of the Ararat District. So it was a fairly even competition, which I always rate. Here's the old club rooms. Not too much to see. Just actually tiles over here, which is about all that's left. You can see the bathroom set up here. The showers, toilets there. So yeah, the old Miners club rooms. I don't know where they have all their memorabilia and whatnot for some of these. There's a lot of clubs in Ararat that used to exist only 25 years ago, a little bit more, but still, it's not really that long ago. I wonder where all the history is kept. All right, so we did a tour of Aradale earlier, which wasn't too bad. Went a little bit long, but it was all good. It's a former mental hospital. How'd you rate it?
I think the tour was really good. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. It did drag on a bit too long, but
it's better to go too long than too short with things like you're paying for it.
Yeah, it was unique as well. It got me more interested to do the other tours that they offer as well.
Yeah, true. So why is that relevant to this video? Well, it's on brand for this channel because there is a former cricket ground here. It's only just closed in recent years. I'm not too sure about football, but yeah, cricket was only played here just until recently. Aradale Cricket Club played in the Grampians Cricket Association. Unfortunately, Ararat, like a lot of places, the cricket league is gone now. I think they have very few cricket teams now, which is a bit of a shame. The nets here aren't even that bad for an abandoned ground. I believe this is more so for like the Aradale workers initially, and then I guess like because the Aradale actually closed in 1993, they didn't have the workers anymore, but I guess just like residents of Ararat played out here. So Aradale was formed in 1857, a real long time ago. The buildings are still holding up really well. And obviously closed in 93, and that was sort of a sign of the times for Ararat and the Ararat District Footy League. Like, they were a big employer in the town. A lot of families worked at Aradale, and yeah, with the demise of Aradale, it meant like less people for the footy clubs to have players. So
There's
I don't know what they called this cricket club initially, because Aradale was only named in the 1950s. So it was just Ararat Mental Asylum or one of those names prior, but then they came up with Aradale with a bit of a nicer name. But yeah, here's the old cricket pitch. Aradale used to employ 200, 300 people, so you can imagine how much of a boost that gave the community. There's still houses here which look like they all look exactly the same. It's like they were the workers' houses or something like that. But in here you can actually see that's the bowls club. They still have a bowls club out here, which is so rare, I reckon, like having a bowls club with all these like older people next to where the mental asylum was. I believe like some of the patients would just come down here and watch the cricket, like be not a bad pastime for some of the ones that were able to be out and about. It's a wonder the cricket club just didn't like repurpose these old buildings here. Like like they're probably not fit for it, but it would have been cool. You can see how worn out they are inside in there. I thought it was really weird that when they left Aradale, like they didn't actually tell the patients what was happening. I guess they might have like stressed them out. So they just said they were going on an excursion and they never come back here ever again. Another big employer in Ararat is the jail. So this opened up in 1967 and it's been a big employer. Ararat was sort of like a government town. Obviously they had Aradale and J Ward and those closed down, but this one is still going. Surprisingly, in the Ararat District League, they actually had prisoners play in the league. And some of them were really good. Like I believe won league medals and leading goal kickers. So it's quite remarkable they had prisoners playing in a local footy league. I think even in the 90s. All right, next up we are here at Centenary Park. It's just a park now. It doesn't look like a footy ground at all. There is a fair bit of history here though. It was originally Baltie's Paddock and then it became Centenary Park later on. There were two footy clubs that played here, predominantly St. Mary's, and then they went over and played at Alexandra Oval, like I said before, and also Trinity played here until the 80s. So it was Baldy's Paddock until it became Southern Reserve in 1947, and then later on it became Centenary Park in 1956. And the Ararat District League used to play curtain raisers before the Ararat Wimmera League games. Obviously, they didn't have reserves back then, and the other Wimmera League teams had reserves that played in various other district leagues. So I guess the Ararat District League was like effectively the reserves of Ararat back in the day. But then they would even play shortened quarters sometimes because they would have to start the Ararat Rats games at 2:15. So it didn't really suit the Ararat District League that much. So they wanted to have their own oval out here. Not much here. Netball court. There is an oval there. That's actually originally an oval. You can see on maps. It's not very evident from here. And then I guess this was the main oval up here. But yeah, nothing really to see. So St. Mary's, they were the Catholic team. There's still a St. Mary's primary school today, Catholic primary school. And they were the Kangaroos. And they wanted to move to a better facility. So moved to Alexandra Oval in 92. And it was a bit of a late move. So they had some games here, some games at Alexandra. And then, for their final few years, they went and played up there and not Centenary Park. St. Mary's won 9 premierships, winning in 97 and 98, the years that the Crows won the flags, the AFL, of course. But that would have been when they were playing at Alexandra Park, not here. So, I don't think there's even a cricket pitch here. There's no club rooms. I think we can find where the benches were. I believe this here is where the bench was for the footy. Obviously been ripped out. Doesn't seem like they keep much here in Ararat. They rip everything out. This was also the home of soccer in the 60s and 70s. Looks like they even wore Ararat Rats jumpers by the look of it. And of course Trinity played here, but we will go to the other Trinity ground and talk about them. But they played here until 1985, obviously sharing the oval. Whether they played down on the other oval or where, I'm not too sure. Playground here, maybe this was where the club rooms were. Not too sure. Bit of a bike track here for kids. All right, so Ararat had a tech school open up in the 70s. It finished up in the early 90s, but here it is. And it's relevant because there was a team that played at the tech school oval. Of course, it's no longer a school, but it's used for some other sort of business. But if we can have a look in here, you can see how it used to be a school. tech schools. I guess it was like maybe for the people who weren't as I don't know, into education maybe, and they were looking to do more practical things at school. So that's what they use tech schools for. That's my understanding anyway. Here you can see the old school. So it's used for some bloody business now, but you can see there's like big tech rooms or whatever else they used it for. So next to the school is the Tech School Oval, and this is where Trinity played. They moved here in 1985. So it's a pretty nice ground now, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it's a wonder the Eagles don't use this oval. Like, there's probably some reason.
Yeah, instead of ground sharing, why don't they just play here? Like, it's an all new facility now. Obviously, it didn't used to look like this, but they've only just done it up recently. We'll have a good look at all the change rooms and that. So Trinity were the Bulldogs. They won 10 flags. And at the Tech School Oval, they actually moved the Alexandra Park scoreboard here. So the old one was moved here. And obviously, it's not this one here. They've got a new electronic one since the upgrades. But I believe this was made for a women's football ground for the Ararat Storm. And they folded. I'm not sure if they're coming back or not, but women's footy is booming right now. I'm not sure about Ararat, though.
Especially in the Wimmera region at the moment. They've got Minya Patoa have a team, Natimucka joining that league.
Yeah.
The Harem, Horsham Demons, amongst other teams.
Yeah.
It is booming, like Andy said.
Yeah, so hopefully they have a team up and running here in Ararat. It'd be a shame if they didn't. So Trinity played until 1996 in the Ararat district. They merged with Prestige, so they were the Prestige Trinity Dragons. What jumper do you reckon the Dragons would wear?
Oh, you'd think like a green...
Yeah.
A green, maybe with a bit of red on it.
Yeah. They actually wore Crows jumpers.
What?
Yeah. So I guess like the Crows were a new team in the AFL back then. And, when clubs started up, they often wear like an AFL jumper. So like when Birchett Watcham started, they wore a Fremantle jumper, for example. So I guess they went with the Crows jumpers because they were available.
Like you saw when the Giants were brought into the AFL, they a lot of teams started wearing Giants and they
go with that branding. So. Yeah. And you can get like beanies and polo, whatever, those colours a lot easier. Here's the new facility, just opened up a couple years ago, and they've got soccer here. So I always say about regional soccer in Victoria isn't super strong, but Grampians United have moved here. I think that was this old Stawell Pioneers team. So I played a few games against them, and I guess instead of playing in Stawell, they play in Ararat now in the Southwest Victorian League, I believe it is. So it's like the Warrnambool League. It's not a bad soccer ground, actually. Wouldn't mind coming out here and playing a game sometime. So here is the new facility here.
Left the lights on.
Lights are on. But just like everywhere else, there's nothing on the walls.
We've got trophies in the cupboard.
Oh, is there? Trophies?
Yeah, we got a soccer ball and 3 trophies.
Oh, there you go. They actually do have a few bits and pieces in there. But not too much. Nothing on the walls. You're not allowed to hang anything up in Victoria. It's illegal. Too woke. Well, they got like this Ninja Warrior thing here, which is crazy. It's even got like a scoreboard thing. You start it up and start up your run around here. Very cool. Very pretty innovative. The nets here are no longer nets. I don't know if they really... Well, they must not use the nets, but it looks like they got a turf wicket, so they must still use it for cricket. So the Prestige Trinity Dragons played here until the league finished. What happened to them? Well, they merged with St Mary's, of course, so formed the Ararat Eagles. So they are technically still going. Here's the old change room. You can see the old light compared to the new ones, which are bloody very impressive. You have some of the best lights in Ararat. Yeah, training here. You can see the old tech school there. Old club rooms here. Now, it's not totally abandoned or anything like that. I think it was used for hockey. Last time I came here, it had hockey stuff. Don't know what's inside here now.
There's another trophy cabinet up the back. There are some trophies. There's a hell of a lot of trophies up there.
Yeah. So here's a high school oval. The high school is just out the back here. And this is where Caledonians played. They moved here in the 80s. Caledonians were the Demons, and I assume they had some connection to Scotland. That's usually what Caledonian means. Caledonians merged with Miners in 1996, so they were Caledonian Miners. Pretty simple name. Cali Miners, they used to be cold as well. And they wore Saints colours. There's actually Saints colours still on the bench right now. So that's the only really thing remaining of the old club here, I reckon. So when the league finished, they actually were the last premier of the Ararat District Cali Miners. So what were they going to do? They actually moved to the Mindanera League. So they played there for 3 seasons. Didn't have a whole lot of success in the seniors, but they did reach prelim finals in the under-16s and reserves. They just ran out of players eventually. They spent 2004 in recess, didn't play that season, and then in 2005 they officially folded as a club from the Mindanera League. I think they did have little athletics here, and then it moved to the tech school oval. You got like a bloody triple jump or long jump, whatever it is here, but not too sure what this is used for now. Probably not a whole lot. Now, I've only got one jumper from the Ararat District League, which is a Moyston one. We'll go out there soon, but if there's any other club I would love to get, I would love to get an Ararat United jumper. If anyone's got a spare one, I'm not too desperate, but you know what I mean. If anyone's got a spare one they're willing to give up, it would be pretty cool because they were a very short-lived club in the Mindanera, and probably not a lot of people would be aware of them. I certainly wasn't into getting into like Ararat footy history and stuff like that. I believe this building is used for the Ararat City Band. Wonder if it still is now. Not too sure. You got the other bench over there. Can't see anything on the far side. You can see the railing of where the ground was on the far side. And then this looks like the scoreboard up here. But you got netball courts up the back. There's a whole heap of them up there for this ground. But apart from that, you got this light tower as well. You can see on the back of the bench. You can't see, well, you can't see the red now, but there would have been red, white and black there for Caledonian Miners, then Ararat United. Last ground in Ararat I'm going to show you, Richardson Oval. So it's a private property owned and operated by the Ararat Junior Football Association. So it's still a current ground, existed 1960. So the league started up in 1960, and this is sort of common with a lot of areas starting up junior football in the 1960s. They didn't go with the Ararat Football League. They actually had their own separate competition. So that was interesting. Originally, all the teams were separated between, you were divided by zones. So there were literally zones in Ararat, and where you lived in the town is which club you played for. So it's actually still a league right now. It's an under 13 league. So Rovers, Mounties, Warriors and Bombers, they still play, and they were the teams throughout its league's history. There also used to be Beaufort in this league, the Beaufort Cats, even though the seniors played over in the Ballarat League back in those days. So Shane O'Brien, he was a league medal winner here, playing for Beaufort in the Ararat Junior Association. I believe Tom Williamson played for Mounties, and I think he still might be associated with this league even today. Had under 13s and under 16s in the Ararat Junior League, and they dropped the under 16s, and that became part of the Ararat District League only for the last couple of years of the association. I wonder if they were affiliated for longer, if the Ararat District League would have benefited from it, because they would have had juniors coming up. And the club rooms actually have all the clubs in the league. Mounties, Rovers. So Rovers are actually Magpies. Warriors, it looks like the Saints. Bombers, that's obvious. Mounties, it looks like they are the Roosters, wear like a white V design. So in this building, looks like it's the old club rooms maybe. It's been like pretty vandalised, unfortunately. This is a private oval, so privately owned, which is a bit different. But yeah, they do have the scoreboard up here, but that's locked as well. All right, so that's it for Ararat. We're on our way out now, out to Maroona, but that was another former Ararat district ground, so we'll go and check that out now. All right, here's Maroona now. This is where Prestige moved out in the 80s from Kokoda Park. Well, why they came here, I'm not too sure. Maybe it was just an empty oval they could use for themselves rather than ground sharing. And in fact, look at this. There's even the old scoreboard here. That's sick as. It's got Prestige up the top here. I'm amazed that's still remaining. We haven't seen anything similar at any of the other grounds. So pretty excited to see that. This is the only ground I haven't been to so far in this video. So this is all fresh for me at Maroona. Prestige they actually wore the prison bar jumper like Port Adelaide Magpies, which is kind of interesting. Don't see much in Victoria. And then also they won their last flag in 1988. So by then they would have been playing out here. I reckon the club rooms were actually over there though.
Right. So someone told me this was the change room initially. Maybe the other one wasn't built when they first came out here.
Prestige, considering they merged with Trinity in 96, they moved into Ararat and played then. Well, of course, they're one of the clubs that makes up the Ararat Eagles. So there's numerous clubs that make up the Ararat Eagles today in the Minnanira League.
Shocked the goals are still here. That is so cool compared to the other grounds, which aren't really that flash. Someone has mown it recently-ish. Grass grows quickly this time of year in spring. Train just went straight past here before, so that's kind of cool. Very close to the train line. And look, there's even some of the old protection on the goals remaining from the 90s. That's crazy. Stevens Park is what this point is called. There's actually a pub there, surprisingly. And there is a primary school down here, down the end of that road as well, which is surprising. I guess it's just people that live on farms around this area go there. In here is the old tennis court. Seems to be infiltrated by sheep, so we won't bother them today.
Here we are at Moyston, so cool, birthplace of Australian football. So that's a big claim. Go in there and see if they can back it up. This is the Moyston town, so they actually have a school here.
Turn left onto
General
Moyston
store.
Road, then you will arrive at your destination.
Not a whole lot other than the footy ground, which we will go to, but just want to show you something up here. There's something retro which I kind of like down this road. Moyston is a very proud town. They've literally got the birthplace of Australian rules football entrance signs everywhere. I love this one, the retro AFL logo. So obviously they haven't changed it from the 90s. This is like a lesser used road, so they haven't bothered to change this one. I kind of like that they've got the retro one here still.
So outside the Moyston Footy Oval, we actually have a monument here to Tom Wills, who I mentioned before in the video. So Tom Wills, the founder of Australian football, actually born in New South Wales, but son of Horatio Wills, and they took up the first run east of the Grampians. So around the Moyston area, he grew up as a kid. So why is this relevant to football? Well, he developed a great rapport with the Aboriginal children of the district. He learned their language and played their games and hunted with them. It's recorded fact that Aboriginal tribes in the area played a game known as a marngrook, using a bowl made of animal skin stuffed with feathers or charcoal. So this was a game similar to football. Eventually he would found Australian rules football, Tom Wills. So there's a connection between playing marngrook as a youngster and then inventing Australian rules football later on. So whether you can claim this as the actual birthplace of Aussie rules football is probably slightly up for debate. But so you can see here's Ararat, and Moyston isn't too far out. I think it was only about 10-15 minute drive, so pretty close. Rocking the old Moyston Tigers jumper. It's even got my really great sponsor, KFC Ararat, on the back, which is pretty elite, I reckon. So Moyston, they lasted until the final season of the Ararat district. They're winning 5 flags. They actually won 1990 and 91, their last flags in the league. So when the league was finishing, they actually wanted to merge with the Woollora Saints. So Woollora played in the Minnanira League, not too far away, but in a different competition. They actually went into recess for 99 and didn't want to join the Ararat District League for that season, apparently. Anyway, when the Ararat District League finished, they did merge with Woollora, and they became the Moyston Woollora Pumas. I did go to a game here. Saw Marlon Pickett play here, of all players. He was playing for Great Western, but nevertheless, still pretty rare to see that happen. So they've been in the Minnanira League, obviously, since Ararat District finished. Little grandstand here. In fact, the change rooms are in here, surprisingly. And that's where the boys found a few jumpers for me from Moyston Woollora, some of the old ones, which is, I was very lucky. I actually got like 5 jumpers when I came here, so they really looked after me. So here's one of the Moyston Woollora jumpers I was kindly given. So this is actually their old design now. They wear sort of like
Adelaide chevron now, but this is what they used to wear with the humor. So
Show you a bit more of the ground, but it is pretty heavily raining at the moment.
So Great Western were the Demons in the Ararat District League. They joined from the South Wimmera in the 1950s. So I don't know how Caledonians and Great Western were both the Demons. They only made the finals once in the Horsham District League, and in 2011 they actually went into recess. So after a year out, they actually went to the Mid-Era League. So maybe a slightly worse comp than the Horsham District League, I'm going to say. It's not that far off though, and they actually won a flag in 2019.
So here's the new facility, even got the logo on the canteen. So this was only opened up in the past year, Great Western. So it's one of these bloody setups where it's the community centre, right? So I carry on about this all the time. It means they can't put stuff all on the walls. It's meant to be for the whole community, so that means the football, netball club, it doesn't even look like it's their club rooms, hardly. Like, you might see a few bits and pieces, but yeah, it's all pretty plain in there. But to get new facilities, you have to do these things in Victoria. That's just how the rules go. Got the bar here. Really nice ground here, so I'm not sure if they play cricket. It looks like they've almost prepared it for cricket, though. Really close to the power line. Like, imagine that power line surely gets hit in a game. The lighting is fairly solid as well. Looks like it's not too old. So they're doing good things here at Great Western. They didn't do so well in the Horsham District League, but it seems like the Mid-Era is the spot for them. The weird thing here is that it's not actually fenced in, this ground. Like, it's just open. So I don't know how they do game days. I guess people are just honest and pay at the gate, but you could easily just stroll in, especially for finals. I'm pretty sure they had a final here. So next to the new club rooms, you've got the which look a bit fresher than the other one. Actually got an enclosed timekeeper's box, which is a pretty rare thing to see. I like this sponsor here, Paul Summers Electrical. So Paul Summers is actually the leading goal kicker in the Wimmera League this year. He's one of the best players for Stawell. He used to play for Stawell Swifts. Yeah, he used to play for Stawell Swifts last year. So kicked 100 goals for them last year. And then he went to Warriors this year and got the...
I didn't think that would work because it said, so it said that the charging station needed to be on. Like, it's got a charging thing. So I assumed that needed to be on.
It's just battery. There we go. So there's the scorer's box. Maybe it should be closed. We'll just close it up so no vandalism. So here's Great Western. It's a pretty small town, but I do have a pub. Bit of a touristy sort of town because they have vineyards around here. So maybe some of the players, they work in the vineyards. There'd be players coming out of Stawell. A lot of players coming out. Maybe some out of Ararat, I don't know. But yeah, definitely a lot of players coming out of Stawell. Alright, so we're going through Stawell now. This is the final place. There's two main footy ovals in Stawell, North Park and Central Park. So Central Park is where the Stawell gift and everything is like that. So we're going to go to the other one, North Park. So we're here at North Park and Stawell. This is the final ground of this tour. There were actually two clubs that played here. A lot of people would know the Stawell Swifts. They still play in the Horsham District League. There were also the Warriors Football Club. So Swifts and Warriors both shared this ground. The Swifts actually played at Central Park with the Stawell Redlegs from the Wimmera League. They used to share that in the South Wimmera days, but when that league finished, they actually went over to the Ararat District, and the Swifts moved to North Park. So here's the Swifts. We got 20 years naming rights sponsor, CKS. So sometimes you see them called CKS Swifts. They don't even call them like Stawell Swifts, which is kind of weird, but I guess originally they were just called Swifts and Warriors, the two clubs here. So there's the current logo there. He's a Swift wearing the Port Adelaide jumper. When they joined the Horsham District League, when the Ararat League finished, they actually wore these jumpers. So this is the fit here today. It's the North Horsham jumper. So North Horsham, they finished up in the late 90s in the Horsham District, and they actually gave their jumpers to the Swifts Football Club because I guess someone had to use them. It wasn't clashing with any clubs. So this is what they wore, and they actually wore it in their first premiership in 2003. After that season, they moved to a Port Adelaide style, which they still wear now. Heard of the Stawell Warriors, right, in the Wimmera League?
Yeah.
But they were originally the Redlegs. They actually merged with the Warriors Football Club that played here.
Yeah, right.
So it was they wore green with a gold V, and they finished up in '97. So did they merge or get absorbed by the Stawell Warriors? I don't know, but they took on the name Red Leg. They moved from Red Legs to Warriors, so they still exist today in that fact. It's crazy that the Warriors won the Ararat district in '95 and '96. Then '97 would be their last year, so they were pretty successful before they finished up. I don't know why they had to fold, merge, sorry. Maybe just a lack of players. That's usually what it is. I guess Stawell wasn't big enough to have 3 football clubs in the 90s, just like Ararat wasn't big enough to have all the footy clubs that they had. So the new club rooms are up there. The old ones were actually here, and it wasn't that long ago they knocked them down. So you can see this bare patches where the club rooms were. I actually visited here playing soccer once. So there was a soccer carnival here, and they've actually got the soccer set up at the moment. A year ago now, I actually came to a game here on Good Friday, and they didn't even have... Oh, they might have had that scoreboard, but they had the old scoreboard right next to it. So that's actually been ripped down in the past years. A little bit sad to see stuff like that. So Stawell having the Stawell gift, they have a big community of people who do athletics. They have a great running track here. It's a good asset to the community. Right next to the footy and the netball here. Grand final was here 2 years ago, and I can understand why with these facilities. The netball is very good. And in here you can see a little bit of the football history. So they do have like a memorabilia section. It seems like with these new facilities, you can only put stuff behind cabinets. Like you can't like hang anything on the walls or nothing like that. But at least they do have some stuff in there like photos. And all right, so that's it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank you to Dreamer for filming and coming along on this trip. It's been a good one.
No worries at all.
Yeah, it's good. So thank you for watching. Cheers. See ya.